Shout out to KP for the donation, man. Appreciate you. Says
Thank
Draymond
you.
suspended indefinitely. Oh,
Oh, no, I didn't
so
know that.
listen, we were actually going. I was going to bring this up on the overtime show. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, we got a menace off the street. Okay, this man right here cannot be. He look at that. He looks like he's like a rabid dog. Okay, he cannot be free to roam NBA courts. All right, stomping on my man Sabonis' chest. That was so funny.
Yeah, that was horrible. That was horrible. I mean, not only the risk of injury to another player, but when you are a public figure and you are without, I disagree with it, but you are in a sense a role model where young children or young adults are looking up to you. It's about the image that you are putting forward. And like, I don't know if you guys talked about it earlier. Pat Mahomes and his
he was on. We put him on court. We put him on
apology,
trial.
sort of, kind of, maybe if you want to interpret it that way, is we'll go with that. But at least he acknowledged that, hey, you can't act like that. That type of conduct has no room here. And when I look at Draymond Green, when I look at the picture that you just displayed of Draymond Green, and I'm looking at it and I say, oh gosh, children are looking at this and thinking, oh, this is okay. So if I make it to right, children are thinking, oh, this is how you're supposed to act when someone does something to you that you don't like, or if you're defending your teammate or your friend, it's okay to put someone in a chokehold, and that's acceptable. So no, I'm glad. I didn't know that he was suspended indefinitely, but certainly stand behind.
Yeah, so he was suspended indefinitely, and they say he's going to have to go through counseling, before he comes back. And listen, it should have happened on the last incident, right? Like, this isn't just a 1 or 2 time thing. This is going back, 7, 8+ years of him, just having these absolutely ridiculous incidents where he's out there on a court just flailing his limbs all over the place. Just I mean, at least he's aiming above the belt these days, I guess. But it's out of hand, right? You have a bunch of players out there, and look, the chances of them getting seriously injured by Draymond aren't very high, although there is a chance. But even minor injuries is a negative for the NBA, because then you don't have certain players out there on the court every night. And the stuff that he does, it's just ridiculous. I don't know if you saw the video, but they start calling it a spinning back fist that he caught Nurkic with. And then he's like, oh, well, I wasn't intending to hit him. What were you trying to do?
Yeah, what exactly were you trying to do?
Yeah. So I don't know if you noticed, like that picture that I showed, that wasn't the most recent incident. That's not why he got suspended indefinitely. This is why he got suspended. And this picture doesn't do it justice. He spun around and hit him.
Oh, now see, I didn't know about this one. I knew about the picture that you showed.
This was prior. This is
but the chokehold. That's the latest.
That's a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's the one I knew about.
Yeah. And there's another one. I took it off. I know I shouldn't have done it. Where he stomped on Sabonis. That was in the playoffs last year. Was it playoffs? It was playoffs.
I believe it was.
Yeah. So all these incidents happened within about like a 6 or 7 month span.
Yeah.
Okay. And also him sucker punching his teammate in practice and knocking him out. But yeah, like I said, the things that he does. What do you? I want somebody to sit him down and ask him, what were you trying to do if you weren't trying to punch Nurkic? What was the intended outcome of you windmilling around on a basketball court with a closed fist,
right,
swinging over your head because somebody who's taller than you was right behind you?
This is long overdue. This indefinite suspension is long overdue, especially for someone who's so hot-headed he cannot control his temper. But partly I also put some blame on Steve Kerr for defending him multiple times over the years. And look at that. Look at that. That's just terrible. There's just no explanation that, like, oops, I didn't see you down there. Okay, wait, like, no. That was intentional.
I'm laughing, but these are not funny. Like, listen, I'm cracking up, but before we started, did we not talk about this? I was like, it's time for it. Like, it's time for the league. It's time for the league to take action. He has to be suspended. Yeah, it's time to send a message. You cannot keep getting away with this, man. That indefinite suspension is deserved, because I'm gonna ask you guys this: what's worse, what John Morant did, or allegedly, or what Draymond did? Because John Morant, okay, he's playing around with the gun on Instagram, right? It's reckless. Did he hurt anybody?
Oh, what? No. The Warriors fan says Sabonis grabbed his ankle, so it's okay for Draymond to try and cave his chest in.
Listen,
hit the like button for Brodny's descriptors. They're awesome. So just make sure you hit the like button.
He used his chest as a launching pad so he could jump up in the air and click his heels.
Yeah, no.
That's not the proper response to being grabbed by the ankle.
That's just inexcusable. I mean, in my book, that's inexcusable. There's no valid reason you can articulate that says that this is okay. And especially one thing that you have to consider, or at least I consider, one thing I always look at when assessing this type of conduct or behavior, I look at a pattern. And when we're talking Draymond Green, we're talking years of hot-headedness. We're talking years of incidents. We're talking years of, just seeing him lose his cool to the expense of another player. So I can't ignore the fact that this person has a repeated history of doing exactly what we just saw him do. So I think at some point the conversation needs to be had within the NBA. At what point do we say, thank you so much for your service?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's the door. Like that kind of aura, that type of essence that you're bringing to the NBA is just unwelcomed, and it won't be tolerated.
Yeah, we talked about this. I've been tired of Draymond's act, and they need to sit him down and say, listen, if you can't control yourself, you can't play anymore. Period. Right. Because it is going to get to the point where he is going to seriously hurt somebody.
Right. And then what?
If I can't show the video because they'll flag us, but it's out there. Look on Twitter. If you see the video, Yolanda, it's so ridiculous. It looked like when you're playing Street Fighter, he spun around. Who was the fighter? Zangief. He did a little spinning. Mm-hmm. He spins around his arm and just hits him in the neck. All right. I mean, it was cartoonish.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to hit him. All right. Like we said, what were you trying to do then?
But it's time to stop talking about this because we're almost at 2 hours and we got to do.
Okay. We're going to continue this on Overtime Show because Coach thinks that what Ja did is worse, and we need to have a discussion about that. I think assaulting multiple people, okay, is worse. All right, Overtime Show, patreon.com/LBHTShow. That's where you can find us.